Hey everybody, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, and welcome to this week's edition of Hook, Line, and Striker.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily, and we are excited to be here with you guys tonight. It's a little bit earlier than normal because, to be honest, Josh and I have other things that we're still doing in the night. So, I know that you guys, you're a lot of fun, and we love that you get to join in. And so hopefully you're, finishing up dinner or starting your other activities already, because I know last week we heard some people that were tying up fishing rods, some people who were going through tackle boxes. Heck, I even heard that
people were out on ice.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, even sometimes people sit around and wash dishes. So whatever you are doing, and hopefully you are out on ice, that would be way more fun. But either way, we are here to talk fish and fishing. So with that, we always kind of start with a fishing report. And, we had a really fun weekend. We did some ice camping. And I think we're going to do a little bit more of a review of that on our Thursday night show. So if you're interested in that, come and check that out at that time on our page, our Crappie Junction page or YouTube. But how was ice? How was fishing other than that?
Ice was great. Ice looked good. The Midwest's been blanketed in some very nice cold temperatures. Nice for us, not so nice for vehicles and people that need to work outside. But fishing stayed relatively good as far as, cold front fishing goes. And we had a pretty good time all the way up until we picked up in a 3-inch puddle of water and negative 30. So no, it was good.
For those of you who are laughing at home, those things really did happen. So, it was quite an adventure. The temperature wasn't supposed to drop quite as fast as it did, but hey, it did. So, with that, let us know what your fishing conditions are like, what your ice conditions are like, how all of that is going, because at this point in the season, there is a lot of people that are getting to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yep.
Different bodies of water are iced over, and we're getting to get out there.
Absolutely.
Cool. So the other thing is, as we are going through the show tonight, if you guys have other questions or comments or things to add along the way, definitely put that in the comments as well, because we love to chat with you guys as we go along.
Yeah, and let us know how your fishing's going.
But I guess with that, let's bring in our guest tonight. So Jen, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. So for people who maybe do not know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm originally from Southern Iowa. I just recently, last year, moved up to Northern Minnesota. So I've had some totally new adventures lately. But I'm founder and editor of Adventurous Magazine. I just recently launched a shop with that as well. So it is all tailored for outdoor women with hunting and fishing. So, and I grew up around the outdoors, so it's my life.
Well, that is actually really fun. I know a lot of times here we talk just ice fishing or just fishing in general, but there is so many different outdoor sports that people do know and love. And that's a nice thing kind of even about striker gear, is that a lot of it does kind of cross categories. Maybe you're a snowshoer, or maybe you do, ice camping without the fishing. You never know. But there's so much different stuff out there.
Definitely. And with striker, I also use that for snowmobiling. So that's been really good for that.
So the other thing that I'm really interested in is that you said that you came from Iowa. And man, they get a lot of ice there, but quite different than Minnesota. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Completely different. Yeah, it's been hard. I feel like I've got to start at the bottom of the totem pole all over again, and just relearn everything with fishing and the outdoors and everything. So, being from Southern Iowa even, we're really the southmost part of kind of ice fishing in general. So, and that was how I wanted to get in with striker, just how important that is for a safety aspect. That was how I started off with striker. So anyways, though, it's all a lot of pond fishing, or small lakes, and walking everywhere we went, you just carried everything. There was no, four-wheelers, snowmobiles, especially not trucks on the ice like up here. And there's such big lakes up here. So it's been just a totally new environment. And then also with learning, walleye fishing, and didn't know at all really. And pike, that they're gonna break your line off, and it's a totally different ball game than Iowa.
Actually, that's really awesome though, because a lot of times people overlook some of those small lakes, or you're talking about pond fishing. And that can be a whole lot of fun. I know sometimes people do get kind of wrapped up in those big bodies of water and some of the things that it can promise. So, being able to jump around in those little spots, like you said that you were on foot, it's a way easier place to be on foot. That's for sure.
Yeah. With Striker, like, transporter was a huge thing that I used, so I could just carry everything on my back and carry my Vexlar and carry a bucket. So that's been really different with being this far up north. I mean, you just have temps sometimes that you have to have a hub, you have to have so much more, and yeah, you're covering a lot more area. So it's just, it's different.
That is actually a really fun thing to mention, though, is that transporter, because I think that, there's a few years there where at the ice fishing shows, they were flying off the shelves, and they are still around and people love them. And people were still looking for them even this past year, because like you're saying, it has that rod storage, but it can fit so much more than that. And it goes on your back. So as far as being a mobile angler, that is actually really excellent.
Yeah. And even, now with having the option of a sled or anything, still, I always have my transporter with me, because I have it stuffed full. It has everything I need it. So, I also carry like an electric fillet knife and speaker and everything else in there too, and about a million pairs of gloves. And so yeah, you can just have so much gear in there. It's really nice.
Two unique things actually that you pointed out, though, that was really fun. A speaker. So there is, those two different groups of thought, that some people, it doesn't matter how much noise you make on the ice, or some people like are really paranoid about that. So I guess, do you have a stance on that?
I go back and forth. Sometimes it's like I feel like I have to be so quiet, but then also, like, I just started getting into spear fishing a little bit, and it also is kind of eye-opening how you're in shallow water and you'd be surprised at how much you can get away with as well. So I go back and forth on it. Like, there's times I just want to be quiet and I'm serious about it. But I think there's other times, like if you're out on the ice all day, sometimes it's just nice to have some music. And if you're in deep water, maybe it's not as big a deal. So
Yeah. And then the other thing that you pointed out was your fillet knife. So are you actually filleting your fish on the ice?
I do that. So then I can just, dump the fish right back into the lake.
Do you have, like, how do you bring them home? Just like in your bucket? Do you bring like
I'll
baggies?
I'll just bring, I've got, what do you call it? It's, fillet away mat that rolls up, and then my electric fillet knife, and then I'll just carry a couple baggies with me. So yeah, I can just fillet them and then return the bodies to the water, and just carry them out that easy.
Well, in some states you can do that. There's other states that you can't. So for
Oh,
whoever's watching, just go to your local
check your
regulations.
local.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we don't want you getting in trouble. But yeah, in some
But you
states that is a good way to be able to not have to leave it in your trash can or whatever. Wintertime isn't so bad because usually your trash can's frozen, but the summertime that can get pretty stinky. But yeah, that's definitely a method.
I like that, though, not bringing the mess home. That's the worst part about keeping fish for us, is having to come all the way home and then clean fish then, because
Yeah.
that's when you're tired and unpacking.
Jonathan,
Getting
can we
back
do
to
that
the-
in Wisconsin? Not sure. I can look that up and get back to you on that. Just a sec.
Yeah, Jonathan. So Josh is going to look up if we can do that in Wisconsin. So we'll get back to that. If anybody else does have questions or comments or different things along the way, then that is what we're going to be here talking about. So feel free to post those comments or whatever. But we are talking about, keeping fish or fishing around. So what is your target species?
So yeah, back in Iowa, it was always panfish. So now I've been trying to learn and target walleye more, which can be hit or miss for me still. I'm learning.
It's funny because we have the river system near us. And so, I go out during the run and whatever, and jigs and minnows and all of that. And, sometimes then I can have some pretty good luck, but otherwise I have to say, walleyes is something that I am working on too. Panfish, I just always seem to understand where they're at and all of that, but I don't know. It's taken more work for walleyes for me.
Yeah.
Yes, and being new to pike fishing, I really love that up here. So I'm new to tip ups and everything like that. So that's been really fun to get to learn as well.
Kurt is asking, what electric fillet knife are you using?
I have the, however you want to pronounce it, Rapala or Rapala Ion one. Can't remember the full name right now.
Yeah, that's okay. Search that. That'll definitely get you started. We also have Steve checking in saying that the Bubba knife with the battery is the best knife that he's found. He says it's worth the money. And actually, that's something that we actually just got one of. How do you like yours?
I couldn't tell you because I have not even gotten any blood on it yet. But
Well, that's true.
but as far as just being able to hold it out of the box and mess around with it a little bit. My only thing that I have to say about it is that for somebody with smaller hands, it might be a lot to hold on to, being able to maneuver it because it is a pretty wide handle. But otherwise, it seems really nice. I've heard really good things about the new Rapala brushless. Because the one that Emily just got me for Christmas, that's the Bubba brushless. I've heard good things about both. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about
And
that.
I guess another thing about regulations for filleting too, I know like a lot of times, I'm not sure if it's different on each state, but you usually have to keep an identification.
Yep.
Piece. Maybe that's something we mentioned.
Yep, and that's pretty much a standard across the board as far as interstate travel goes as well. You have to leave some kind of identification as far as, if they ask you what kind of fish it is, you want to be able to tell them. They want to be able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan is checking in. He says that he has both of those knives that we were describing. He says that the handle is different between the two. And, if you are using a non-electric fillet knife, the handles are different from that, and so there's something different for everybody. And that's a thing. I couldn't say like one is the best because it matters what you like best.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, one of the things that you had said in the beginning is that you run, I guess if that's the way to put it, Huntress. Can you tell us more about this? Or you are the Huntress. I mean, can you tell us about your magazine?
Yes, it's Adventurous.
Adventurous. Okay.
Yeah. So I've got 4 years of past issues online that anybody can go and check out if they want at adventurousmagazine.com. And then for actually putting issues out lately, I've had to take a couple years off with everything going on in my life and stuff. So I just recently launched the new store for it, and I'm working on getting the magazine relaunched as well. So it's always been digital in the past. And what's nice about that is it's free. Anybody can find it online and read it for free. But new for this year, I am hoping to print it this time. And have that option available as well.
That's actually really awesome. Really exciting to be able to come across. As far as the past issues that are already out there, those are different articles that people could still go and read if they want to.
Yep, everything's there, and it goes seasonally. 4 issues a year, and there's just a lot of different outdoor activities, not just hunting and fishing, but there's just a lot to learn through those. So it's a wide variety of stuff.
And then is it topics that are focused on women or focused on the sport, or is there kind of something for everyone?
There really is something for everyone, even though it is targeting for women specifically, but I've had a lot of guys say they read it cover to cover and enjoy it. It's how I do it for my niche is kind of thinking of it like a men's magazine where you can learn so much from it with how-to articles and stuff, but that is just tailored for women. So anyone can learn from it.
And then are these articles that you write, or could people be like guest contributors, or how does that work?
Yes, so I will write some, but it's more about what I want other people to write articles within it. So a lot of times what I do is people that are just really good in a specific area. I know they know what they're talking about and have the photos and everything like that. I'll ask if they can write, and but also, yes, people can definitely submit ideas as well. So.
That's awesome. And so you were talking about the possibility of coming out in print. Is that something that you like have plans for that people can look forward to, or not quite yet?
Nope, that is what I'm hoping for. So once I get this the magazine going again here to launch a new issue, yes, hopefully we'll be in print this year.
That's awesome. And so, if people have different questions or comments about that, definitely go and look that up. Can you tell us how they can do that?
Yes, just check it out at adventurousmagazine.com. And is that something you can provide the link for us?
Yep, working on that right now.
Okay, great. So yeah, you'll find all the information on there as well as contact information. So.
Perfect. So Josh is going to get that up into the comment section. So certainly you can search for that, or otherwise he'll get that link so you can click on it. But one of the other things that you had mentioned earlier in the show is that this year you had started getting into some pike spearing. And that is kind of really unique. Can you tell us about, or I guess you didn't say pike, but I assume that. So it was different spearing.
Pike.
Yeah, so tell us about that.
But I've been out twice with a friend, and yeah, it's just so neat to see. I don't know, you cut a big hole in the ice and you look through it. It's amazing. So it's very neat. You're in a hub or a shelter, and you want to black it out as much as possible. So it's kind of like a fishing version of turkey hunting to me. I bow hunt turkeys, and so you have to have your blind completely blacked out,
That's actually a really interesting comparison. I got to be honest, I know nothing about turkey hunting, but I know probably a lot of people out there do. And I can certainly understand for the spearing aspect, you really want to black it out so you can see what's down there.
Yeah.
And I imagine then that water clarity has a huge factor in this.
Yeah, so that's been interesting to see, like, what depth can you really go at and still have clarity. But yeah, it's neat when you start having some fish come in.
I'm imagining, I'm thinking about panfish and how I hop around and all of that to find that. But I imagine with a situation like spearing, that's something that you have to be a lot more confident in kind of the locations that you're picking out, because that's not something that's easy to pick out and move. So, I mean, when you're looking for pike in the shallows, I mean, how are you going about finding the spot?
So yeah, just kind of going in an area that is shallow and, is kind of a more pike environment. And then you're actually using decoys in the water. Do you know about that?
Well, I do only a little bit because I've been to the shows and expos, but if you could describe it, I'm not sure if the people at home have even seen this.
Yeah. So you actually have a line down in the water of a decoy, and it's kind of just like a big lure without hooks. And so that's how you're bringing the pike to you.
Well, and it's funny, like I love the way that you describe it, just kind of being a lure, because they do come in so many different forms. I mean, you could use like even a fishing lure of some sort, but I mean, I've seen all kinds of contraptions like made with spinners and golf balls, or I've seen, ones that have been entered into competition that are just like meticulously carved and painted and clear coated, and they are like a thing of art. And it's amazing that all of those are different options that kind of could work.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options, like you said, out there with them. And some of them are so realistic looking, and just some are really neat, and some can be homemade. It can be, wood and painted. It can be kind of whatever.
So have you ever tried to make one?
No. And I said I'm completely new into the pike spearing thing. So I don't know if I would do that down the road or not. It would be a fun project, I guess, but
Yeah. Sometimes people get all kinds of crafty and they like make really crazy spears and stuff. I've seen that like on Facebook, not really in person, but man, some of that gets pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Down by us, we have Sturgeon Spearing
Mhm.
on the Winnebago system. And so, I know that's kind of a different factor as well because the sturgeon can get really big. But I mean, pike, that's a crazy fighting fish too. So I don't know. I've never done that. Maybe one day.
It's really fun. Growing up in central Minnesota, I went out a few times. The one thing that like it's really fun. I like to be a part of it. It's not necessarily something that I'm huge into just because I just don't clean a whole bunch of fish. I know I have lots of buddies that are way into the pickling and the keeping a pike and stuff, but the whole experience is really fun. The sturgeon spearing around us has been really fun to get to know, just because they use stuff like jello molds and crazy things for decoys, because nobody knows what decoys a sturgeon because
Yeah.
they're not like a predator. So it's like they use all kinds of just weird shapes and objects just to, something that would make a fish be curious. Like, I've never seen that before. So that's been really fun. And there's a whole like really deep rooted culture just in our local area with that. So I know it's kind of widespread with the Dakotas and Minnesota with the pike spearing, but like the sturgeon spearing is it's the same, but it's really different. And they only have a 4-week season that has a quota. So if the quota is met, or it might be a 2-week season, but if the quota is met before the season's over, then the season's over. So it might go for 2 days, it might go the whole length of the season. It's a very cool thing.
Yeah, I've heard a bit about that before, and yeah, that seems crazy to think about spearing a sturgeon, but
I guess it seems crazy to me even to spear pike though. Steve is saying pike are good eating, one of his favorite. And that's awesome. A lot of people have different favorites. And so I hear about pickling them. I don't know. I don't eat fish all that often anyway. So
No, you don't.
yeah. In a past issue of Adventurous, we actually had a Pike Patties recipe too. That's something I'd really like to try. I haven't done that myself yet, but
yeah, that is actually really interesting. I've not heard of something like that, but it sounds like something that you'd be interested in.
Maybe.
So one of the things that I know that a lot of people out there are really interested in is getting new people out on the ice. I think with COVID, a lot of people were trying it themselves. I think, there's just, I guess, a lot of reasons people are turning towards these outdoor sports these days. And that's been actually really excellent. But in a lot of cases, the people that everyone's looking to get out might be like wives, children, girlfriends. So, I guess as a lady, can you tell us a little bit about how maybe you help to get other ladies out onto the ice?
Yeah, I guess I'm just up for trying new stuff and encouraging other people to do the same. It's really fun. Of course, if you're new, you don't want to be starting out on a miserable, super cold day or anything. But definitely with the help of other people, make it like a camaraderie thing, make it an enjoyable day, and it's just wonderful to be able to introduce new people to it and help them out with reading a Vexlar and how you put a minnow or minnow head on or anything like that. Just help each other out. So.
And actually, that's a really great point because, you're talking about making a fun atmosphere. And I was talking about bringing speakers on the ice, listening to music. Okay. Like, that's cool. And it makes me think like a lot of women that I hear, a lot of people who don't go ice fishing, they say that they're nervous, about the ice and the ice cracking. And so a lot of that fun stuff will help, kind of detract from whatever might be freaking them out, just keep them having fun. They'll be distracted. And I think that's great. But you're talking about also, showing them how to use a Vexlar. And I think sometimes people get nervous to just like jump into things like that. But I think that's a really great point is that, especially if you're out fishing, you're going to want to teach somebody, I guess, like how to fish.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that makes it more fun if they actually know what things mean, like what you're doing, just show them what they're doing and everything. And, if it's a situation where they can, have actually be like jigging a pole as well as have, like a dead stick or something where, one, they're trying to read the Vexlar if they want, or another, if you just want it simply watching a bobber, you can have whatever they want to try, want to learn. So, but yeah, like you said, if you have a speaker with music or bring out, stuff for hot chocolate or something like that, like anything like that can definitely make the situation more fun. And it can be as serious as you want or not serious too. So.
I'm laughing a little bit to myself because I grew up fishing and stuff with my dad, but never like serious ice fishing, never like with a graph. And so the first person ever to plop a Vexlar in front of me was actually Josh. And I just remember like I was honestly so resistant at first. I was like, don't
And I
even give me
never
that.
got it back.
That's what I was gonna exactly say. It is awesome to be able to teach people out there, but it's also secretly kind of maddening because, like Josh said, I kind of started taking over some of that equipment. Once I like realized, what it does. But it is funny because sometimes you have to let people, I guess like go through it the way that they want to. I don't know. I don't know why I was so resistant to the graph, but it's certainly a lot more fun using it.
Yeah, it's definitely a game changer. My first Vexlar was also to be a sharing situation, and that soon turned into 2 Vexlars. So
Yeah.
it's hard to share them because it does make such a big difference.
That is true. Gosh, I wish I remember who we were talking to. It might come to me as I say this. But we were talking with a guest, and they were saying, "Oh, you know who it was? Katie." Katie Courget. So shout out to her because she's actually awesome. But she was talking about using the deeper sonar. And I think in a lot of cases you can get a really affordable version of that deeper sonar to, let somebody go and use when you're out on the ice. But the other nice thing that she pointed out about those deeper sonars is that because they do float in the top of the hole, you don't have that transducer that's hanging down for anyone to get fish caught into. So especially new people on the ice, if you're taking a kid out or something like that, really fabulous and affordable options out there, even to get people kind of going and started on electronics and stuff. Awesome. So I'm checking into some of these comments here. Tony is referencing to pike. He says boil them. It's like poor man's lobster. Tony sent us a recipe. Maybe we'll try it. Dana's saying Striker rules, the most amazing product on the market. I got to agree with that. Call me biased. Jonathan checking in and saying that he used a live scope in a sleeper shack this past weekend, and everyone kept asking if I see the lines where the fish, what way they're going.
Yeah, so I think what he's referencing is the other people were using their Vexlars, and he had the live scope, and they were asking if they could see if he could see where their lines were going. That would be kind of fun.
That would. Josh is laughing at me because we don't have a live scope, and so we just keep teasing. Maybe one day, but I feel like it's coming closer actually now. Oh, Jonathan said correct, so you're clearly interpreting all of that correctly. That's funny.
I got you, John.
Oh, he said he posted the video. Check it out.
Oh, I will definitely.
Oh my gosh, awesome. So we have Dan, and he was talking about Striker. And I know that you use the Striker products as well. Are you running actually one of the women's suits or one of the suits that I call them kind of everybody's suits because they're made for men, but women love them too?
Yeah, I wear I'm wearing kind of a variety of them. The new women's Stella suit, but also I'll wear the women's Prism bibs that were before Stella, but I'll also wear the men's climate bibs as well because I do like them as another color option to switch it up, but also that it has the liner that you can have in or remove. So I like that option as well.
That is actually really interesting that you say that, because there are really a lot of women that like that climate series for that reason. So especially with multiple options, how do you choose to put on each day?
It can just be your situation. If it's a really cold day and you want your warmest, or if it is a warmer day on the ice, then maybe you want the climate that you can remove the liner. And then I do think that the Stella suit so far seems even warmer than the Prism bibs. So you can kind of fluctuate on how cold of a day you have or not, and then also I do, of course, coordinate, with with the colors. There's our bibs, what I feel like wearing for the jacket and my hat. I have to think about that too.
That is kind of fun, though. I always swear that if you look good, you jig good, you fish good.
Oh, and also if you are posting a lot of fishing photos, it's nice to just have it where you're not wearing the exact same thing every time. So I like to switch it up.
That is true. You were saying that you feel like the Stella series might be warmer than the Prism, and actually, I was stuck wearing the climate series, so I wasn't even into the Prism, and that's okay. But with the Stella series, that is warmer because it does have the Primaloft insulation. So that is actually ultimate gear at that point. And one of the things that we had started out the show talking about is when we were packing up Sunday from ice camping, and we had 3 inches of water, but like -20 winds, maybe even worse than that. I honestly, I still had the bibs, the legs unzipped a little bit. It sounds crazy, but that Primaloft insulation, I was wearing my bibs and I was wearing my jacket, and I had just one layer of clothing underneath. I'm not talking layers. I'm not talking anything crazy. Well, the only thing crazy was the weather. And I remember being out there at one point, and Josh said, he looked at me and goes, "Are you still doing okay?" And I thought that was such a kind thing to ask. And I laughed. I said, "I still got my bibs unzipped a little bit."
Yeah, I definitely have noticed the difference of how warm they are, and also that the Stella bibs come up further, on your sides and everything than the Prism ones too. So I've noticed the difference.
Yeah. Gosh, I have liked them a lot. They are really comfortable to wear, like you're saying. They do come up higher. And I think that's actually something that I heard a lot of women mention at shows and expos in years past, that they'd be interested in that. So I know that when we're talking gear and when we're talking about getting people on the ice, one of the key features is warmth. And this is definitely one of those ways that we go about that. Oh, Jeannie's saying Stella's not only warmer, but also lighter weight with the Primaloft insulation. Absolutely, it is lighter weight. It is pretty great to move around in an ice fish. Actually, the one thing I keep saying to everybody, so I hate to sound like a broken record if I've said this yet, but I've even started fishing in my jacket. And that's something that I've never done in the past, because really you can move in the arms and the shoulders, and it's comfortable to wear.
Yeah, I've been the same way. I before was trying to go without my jacket as much as possible. But I do feel like even more movability in this new Stella jacket. Definitely.
Yeah. And then it's awesome because I know that with that Stella jacket, we have that awesome veil stray kind of camo-y pattern.
Yeah.
There is also like a really nice, it's actually the color of my hat, a jacket. And actually the more I think about it, I kind of want that jacket. So maybe we'll see what happens. But also a really nice black, and I think they call it frost. It's like a very light blue. So as far as that Stella series that we're talking about, 3 fabulous options for kind of a range of different types of people or interests or whatever. Awesome. So as we look forward into the season, how does the rest of ice season look for you? Do you have any trips planned or anything going on?
Yeah, I'm going to a Wisconsin trip here at the end of January that I'm excited about, as well as another one in Wisconsin in February for the Women's Striker. So I'm excited about that as well. Otherwise, I will just be around northern Minnesota and seeing what I can do.
That's awesome. And then are you thinking like kind of a panfish target or multi-species, or looking at anything specific?
I'd like to start getting into the pike more here lately. I haven't haven't tried that. I've been just walleye so far. So, and then yeah, maybe a panfish later on in the ice season too.
You haven't even got your tip ups out yet.
That's true. I do normally love my tip ups, and I haven't got them out this year yet. We've been moving around a lot. We fish a lot of the backwaters of the Wolf River, and we found that the water is lower this year than a lot of the past years. So fish have been kind of in different spots than normal, and so we've been fishing a little bit different than normal. Not too totally, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just need to find a more mobile tip up. I guess that's not really a thing though.
Do you have your hot dogs ready?
I do use hot dogs. He always makes fun of me. They work. They work.
I was totally new to when people would talk about fun dogs or whatever, and I was like, what are you talking about? And yeah, that's the thing.
So you said that you do use them?
I haven't used them before, but it was just like when somebody would say something about fun dogs or anything, it's like, what are you talking about? So
Yeah, you got to get those really cheap hot dogs. Like, don't spend any money. Like, the more expensive ones don't get a better bite. That's not how it works. And I'll even give you my secret. I take them out of the package when I get home, and I put them in a baggie because then it's sealable, and that's way easier, first of all, because then you don't have hot dog juice everywhere on the ice. Because my dog comes and licks it up. That's crazy. But the other thing is, because you're putting in that baggie, you have that option then to put stuff with it. And so oil is actually a fabulous carrier of scent. And I think that's part of why they use that with baits and stuff, but when you put just a little bit of oil with those hot dogs, then it is able to carry scent. And I happen to know that fish love garlic. And so there's a lot of different scents that you can get and that you can put in there and try and experiment yourself. Maybe fish love oregano and we just never knew it. I don't know. Come and tell me. But garlic, you can use fresh. You could honestly even just use powdered garlic and put more in there than you think you need to, and then even put more than that. Because like fish really do love kind of, I don't know, that really intensely garlic scent and all of that. So I mean, if you don't like garlic, you don't want it on your hands, scale down to what's appropriate for you, but you can put quite a bit in there. And then the nice thing is, even if your hot dogs are a little bit frozen when you get out there, or you're not having to keep them alive, so that's really great. But I just hook it right onto that tip up, not even in a fancy way, and I just throw it down there, and that's that.
Yeah.
I definitely will have to try that sometime. Good idea with the scent.
Yeah. Yeah. So something that you are a little bit more familiar with, you were talking panfish. What are you using for bait there?
I haven't done that this year yet, but back in Iowa, yeah, we always were using like wax worms, usually with jigs. You can have some, little plastics or something too on it as well. But yeah, a lot of wax worms before. Different types of jigs.
That's awesome. This year I've been kind of the opposite, that I love plastics. It's my go-to. Again, I don't have to keep them alive. But I've been finding kind of a finicky bite, and wax worms and live bait actually have been doing really great for me this year. And I guess I shouldn't say that like it's a surprise, because it's not a surprise, but I have had to kind of make kind of a hard switch this year. Crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess, we had talked about coming up with the rest of the year. If people want to kind of follow you on all of your adventures and the things that you post and the things that you do, can you share with us how people can do that?
Yeah, you can find Adventurous. It's an ESSNA magazine on, Facebook, Instagram, adventurousmagazine.com. And, a lot of the striker gear we've talked about too, that's all on the website with the shop as well, the store. So, and I also include a lot of sizing references and stuff like that. And also, just helping people, with sizing. It's difficult as women to shop for stuff like that. So I offer a lot of editor's note type of things in the store as well that can help people with all of that online.
That's awesome. And we were able to get that link posted in the comment section. So if you would like, that's something that you're able to just click and go and visit or share and send to the people that you know and love and want to get onto the ice. And then if people are looking to follow you on social media, do you have any links for that as well?
For me personally, you mean?
Only if you want to share that.
Yeah, Adventurous Magazine you can find on Facebook and Instagram. So
perfect. So I know that we will definitely be looking that up. And I'm looking forward to bumping into you later this ice season. That's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe I'll bring a pack of hot dogs and see if we can get some tip ups. That'll be awesome. But other than that, thanks for being here tonight and talking all kinds of fishing.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And to the people at home, thank you guys for being here as well, because that is always a ton of fun to see the different things that you guys have to chime in and to talk about. And I guess with that, we'll see you on next week's edition of Hook, Line, and Striker.